If someone asked you these 5 financial questions, could you answer them with confidence? I'm Kyle, and I believe all of us were called to live a very intentional life. And I'm simply a guy that helps people build financial systems around banking, tough money habits, and generational wealth. Now, I've got the opportunity to go all over the country and speak on wealth building. And one of the common statements I hear so often is, Kyle, if I could just make more money, that would solve all of my financial pressure. And I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, the inconvenient truth is income is not really your problem. And I'm going to prove it to you in this video. And so what we have that we're looking at here is the common versus uncommon income levels. So if you make a little over $50,000 a year as a household, you're in the top 50% of income earners in the United States. Now, a lot of times when people see these stats, it really puts some things in perspective for them. If you make just under $100,000 per year, you are in the top 25% of income producing families. If you make right at 178, 180 per year, you're in the top 10%. 260 to be in the top 5%, and just under 700,000 would put you in the top 1% of income earners. Now, depending on where you're at with these income levels, if you compare this to the rest of the world, to be in the top 1% income earners worldwide, keep in mind we're extremely blessed with high incomes here in the United States of America, you have to be bringing in about $34,000. So when I'm looking at this and I hear people say, Kyle, if I could just make more income, that would solve all my financial pressure, unfortunately, that is not necessarily the truth. You see, even if you're making $50,000 a year, you make substantially more than the top 1% averaged out worldwide. Income is absolutely not our problem here in the United States. Let me show you what is our actual problem. It's how much of that income, that uncommonly high income, are we actually saving? So as of December of 2025, the personal savings rate was right at 4%. So most Americans are saving less than 5% of their income, even though we have very high income and income potential in this country. And now if you read any book on finances, they're going to tell you you got to save 10% minimum, which is twice the national average. So if you look here behind me, we've got books up here like The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Becoming Your Own Banker. You could read The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Any financial book you're going to come across will tell you the same thing. You got to save 10%. Make yourself an expense. Save first. It's always 10%, and it's because that's what twice the national average. So if you want to get tougher financially, the first and most fundamental step is you have to increase how much you're keeping with that income you currently have. If this discipline is not in place, there's no easy way to say it, you will never become wealthy. Now, the low savings rates bleeds into a secondary problem. This is a study that JP Morgan Chase Institute did across the country with 600,000 business owners. And I'm out here in the Phoenix area, so you can kind of see where you're at on this map. And this is tracking the average days of liquidity or cash reserves that businesses are holding. So out here in Phoenix, average days of cash reserves businesses are holding is less than 30 days, so 25 days on average, which means if a business owner in the Phoenix area goes more than a month without income, they are feeling substantial financial pressure. This is a secondary problem that stems from not saving enough money. And so we don't save enough, which means we don't hold enough in cash reserves. And I'm convinced this is happening due to a number of reasons. Number one, lack of financial education. We're just never taught the proper way to save, earn, invest, store money. And because of that lack of education, it brings a lack of awareness. And then the third thing is a really inefficient place that most of us have been storing our liquid safe dollars. Most of us use it just a checking account that offers little to no benefits. So we don't know the proper way to save. We don't know the right places to save money. And all of that stems into some of these financial problems. And that's when we experience financial pressure. Now, in order to solve that and build what we call the tough money effect, which is basically your ability to thrive financially over time, not if, but when events happen. Now, what are events? Events could be a lot of different things. It could be a death, a divorce, a lawsuit, an accident, a change in taxation. It could be a recession. Events can take many, many different forms, and events are not if, these are when. When events show up in your life, you're going to experience this one of two ways. If you do not have tough money, you're going to experience every event with a lot of pain and discomfort. So if your money is not tough, if you're not tough financially, every time there's an event, you're going to feel it. Now, if you do have the tough money effect, you will not see these events as pain, discomfort. You're going to see them as, this is a little bit unfortunate, but you survive these events and you then see them as massive opportunities. And I'll tell you a quick story about my family. Back in 2008, I watched my parents do everything right for 10 years leading up to 2008. They ran a successful business, raising a bunch of us kids. They did everything right, and one event rolled around, which was 2008, the Great Housing Recession. And when that happened, it took my parents from doing really well to almost bankruptcy in about 6 months. One event completely obliterated us and a lot of other families. Now, here's the crazy thing. During that same event, there were other families that survived 2008. And then what happened to the prices of real estate in 2010, 11, and 12? They hit rock bottom, and those families that had the right savings metrics, the right cash reserves, they could survive the event. When real estate went that low, they bought so much of it that they created fortunes during the exact same event when a lot of other families were experiencing a lot of pain and discomfort. Same event, completely different outcomes. So how do we solve this? You have to be able to answer what we would call the 5 most important financial questions utilizing our Tough Money Workbook and framework. And so here are what I would believe are the 5 most important financial questions. Question number 1, if you want to build tough money. Do you know how much you should be earning in passive income to live the life you've always wanted? This is called your freedom number. Do you know exactly what that number is? Now, if you're watching this video and you're like, I think I know what my passive income target is, that's a no. You want to be able to answer these 5 questions with as much clarity and focus as possible. Question 2, do you know how much you should be saving to achieve your passive income goal? There is a certain amount of money. It's a percentage every American should be saving. If you can save this much money, you will absolutely be in a position to hit your freedom target or your passive income number. It's just a matter of when. Now, this is a percentage. I gave you a clue in one of the earlier slides. It has to be more than 5%. If you're saving less than 5% of your income, all of this conversation is irrelevant. You will never become wealthy. That's the inconvenient truth. Question number 3. Do you know how much you should be holding in cash reserves to guarantee your protection and opportunities when events happen? My parents, my family did not know the answer to that question back in 2008, and that's why we experienced so much pain and discomfort. Today, we know exactly what our liquidity numbers are, our daily burn rate, so we know how much to store away to protect ourselves, but we know everything else that can be used to accelerate wealth, not if, but when the opportunities present themselves. Question 4, this is a huge no, no matter what room I go in and how high the financial IQ is of the room. Do you know if the current environment where you hold your money is maximizing the benefits you deserve? All of us work so extremely hard for those incomes we have. We should be storing wealth in environments, holding cash reserves in environments that maximize all of the benefits we deserve. Most likely, if you're storing money in just a checking account, you're not getting all the benefits you deserve. You should be able to maximize more than what commercial banks are willing to offer you. And question 5, how would you rate your current money management habits? I don't have any. That's why I'm here. They're weak, they're average, they're strong, or can you confidently say I have really tough money management habits? Now, in order to know if you have this tough money effect, we have our workbook here that we built. And there's a series of pages and strategies in here that help you work through your own financial journey. Scorecards, tests, and this will help bring you closer to your money. When you're closer to your money, you're more aware of it. And that's going to alleviate a lot of financial pressure if you know exactly what your wealth plan is, but you've got to have a financial system that was built exactly for what you're trying to accomplish. So those are the 5 most important financial questions. And at the bottom of this page, you're going to see an additional one, would you like to know for sure? It's not enough to know what these questions are. You need to know exactly what the answers are for you. And if you'll do that, you will have that tough money effect in your life. It's not if, it's when events happen. Are you prepared financially to withstand any event and also set yourself up for the opportunities? So remember, as always, stewardship, leadership, that's the path here. We have to lead our families in this wealth building journey. That's the inconvenient truth, is no one's coming to save us. So always choose truth over trends, education over products, and people over profit.